Danny watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Danny and John.
I guess so.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Watching My Stories.
Yep.
That's
it. That's all I got.
Oh, well, what else is new? I'm Danny.
Not a great intro, huh?
And that's Yep.
I'm John, otherwise known as Yup.
And Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yay.
Woo-hoo.
Hopefully everyone made it through unscathed. I was asleep by 9ish. But then fireworks around here woke us up at midnight because our dog goes crazy.
Yeah, it caused our doggy to freak out.
So we were up for about an hour after that.
Yeah, so we saw the new year anyway.
Yeah, as much as I didn't want to. So that's it. We're going to get going. It's a very cloudy day here in LA today.
Yeah.
And it feels a little weird. It's a little dreary.
Yeah, you don't get many like dreary gray days in Southern California.
Yeah, they're saying it's supposed to rain. I don't buy it, but we'll see.
It's gonna rain.
We'll see.
It's gonna rain.
But anyway, we'll get started.
All right.
And just to let everyone know, I've only got a couple movies, couple TV shows, and then we're going to discuss Jason Bateman in our Actors Corner today.
Yep.
First of the new year.
There it is again. Yep.
Yeah, he's so good at this. Okay. First movie I watched is one on pay-per-view called The Oath. This was written and directed by Ike Barinholtz. And
really?
He stars in it with Tiffany Haddish, and his brother's in it. And I was really excited for this. I actually wanted to see it back when it came out in the theater. And so I was excited to watch it. I was excited for the first maybe half of the content, and not even excited. I was actually kind of really angry and crying, but that's because it was a good thing. So the point of the story is it starts about a year ahead of when the actual story takes place, claiming that the new government in charge of the country had issued this thing called the Patriot Oath, basically saying, I pledge that I love America and that it's the best country in the world, and I'll always defend it, and kind of bullcrap. And the
bullcrap that you can kind of see happening with our current dipshit.
That's the point of this. So the president had given a year, up until the Friday after Thanksgiving, for people to sign this oath in the country, claiming that there would be no backlash if you don't sign it, but if you do, they were giving like some tax credits and things, but that supposedly, quote unquote, no backlash if you don't. So they fast forward to then just a couple days before Thanksgiving, and so Ike Barinholtz and Tiffany Haddish are married. They have a daughter, and the whole year they've been participating in the protests against the oath, and they've, vowed that they'll never sign it, and seeing people that they work with or, whatever, friends signing it and kind of losing faith in those people. And but then it turns out a year later that there's this whole new group that's been put together from the Homeland Security called CPU. They're like these, I forget the name. Oh, I should have written it down because it was just annoying. And they're basically going after people who aren't signing the oath and disappearing them. Like at one point, it's kind of funny because he's watching TV and Seth Rogen has disappeared, and it's like people just keep disappearing because this CPU unit is going and actually taking people who are against the oath.
Uh-huh.
So it's Thanksgiving. Ike Barinholtz and his family showing up, his parents, his brother, and knowing that Thanksgiving is always a tumultuous time for families. Now you have this deadline that is coming up, and knowing that it's going to affect Thanksgiving. It turns out his brother is completely on the other side and brings a girlfriend who is getting her news from Facebook and Twitter. And so the arguments start, where different things are happening throughout those couple days. Like there are protests, or a group of people were being gunned down for protesting, and all this different stuff. And so you have these opposing people, and Ike's yelling at everyone. And so at first it's like, it's an interesting thing to watch, because yes, it feels horribly familiar and scarily could become truth. And it ends up kind of turning into then this completely different, not completely different, but into something that also feels like so the CPU show up at their house and are questioning Ike Barinholtz's character and saying someone's reported you as someone who was telling other people not to sign the oath and trying to get in people's way. And that then turns into this completely kind of violent situation. But a lot of discussion and a lot of going back and forth and a lot of different things. And John Cho ends up being in it. And Billy Magnuson is one of these cops who's incredibly scary, because I've never seen him in anything like that, in any role like this. So he blew me away. So anyway, it wasn't the funny thing I thought it was going to be. Obviously, I mean, you can hear how deep this really was. And I think like if you and I had watched it together, it would have been pausing a lot and having a lot of conversation. Right. Watching it by myself, there were definite times where I teared up and cried and was horrified and was angry and annoyed and all the things that you go through to if you're siding with one side or the other. I'm giving it 2.5 stars because it's good. I think people should see it if that's knowing what you're getting into and if you're in the mood. But I think that, it's not for everyone.
Right.
For sure. And I think when you see like Ike and Tiffany in it, you think you're going to get into something else. And Tiffany's great in it. But you're not getting that,
Sure.
It's definitely not the comedy you would think those two would be headlining.
So that makes a lot of sense to me, because I walked through the living room the other day when you were watching that movie. During the dinner scene, there's a dinner scene in there.
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, yes. Okay. And it was, I lingered in there for a couple seconds. And it was wickedly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Ike Barinholtz in a way I never ever wanted to see Ike Barinholtz. And it was weird. And
no, it was good. It's a smart thing. It is one of those that I think he must have been sitting around, and I think his brother helped write this as well. So they must have been sitting around, obviously talking about the current state of affairs and this is born out of that. And it's definitely one of those kind of thinking things. Does it teach anything? And does it come up with any sort of arc at the end of it? Kind of, sorta, but not entirely. So that's why it's hovering at that midway 2.5 stars for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's a weird endorsement, but there we are.
Thank you for the report.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Okay, so the next one, so it turns out, we've had the last couple weeks off and I thought I was going to see a lot more new movies, but actually we've been watching a lot of older movies, or I have been having John get caught up on some older movies. And so this next one is also another, not older, but it is on Amazon Prime already. And that's because it's an Amazon movie called Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. And Timothy is nominated tomorrow night at the Golden Globes for this. So that's kind of why I wanted to watch it as well as talk about it. So this is the true story of David Sheff and his son, Nicholas Sheff. And David Sheff is a writer. I believe he's written some books, but he's a columnist and writes different newspaper pieces and stuff. I probably should have looked him up some more. But this movie is based off of his book that he wrote about him and his son. And his son was a drug addict. And this movie follows kind of that path. So I'm giving it 3.5 stars. It was really, I don't know how to, tragically wonderful, because it is such a horrible story subject matter.
Isn't Tragically Wonderful poignant? Let's ponder that for a moment.
But it's done in a way where it's like, you know, we're mostly through Steve Carell, through the father's point of view, and it goes back and forth. So, you know, there's a moment where he can be, you know, picking him up, finding him on the streets, and then, but in Steve Carell's head, he remembers back to like tucking him into bed and singing the song Beautiful Boy to him. And so you're getting that very kind of emotional feel, because this father's love for his son and knowing his son could die with what's happening. And so we kind of start where he's around 18 and maybe he's just getting started, like with pot and I think ecstasy and stuff like that. And he ends up getting into crystal meth and eventually heroin. And he goes to rehab multiple times. And finally getting to the point where Steve Carell has to eventually stop trying. You know, it got to that point where Steve Carell ended up, or David Sheff had custody of Nicholas growing up. And he then remarried and had a couple other kids, and everything seemed good. Like, it's, you know, David Sheff really thought he was close with Nick. He thought they had a really great father-son relationship and that they were very close. So, he had to get past the fact that there was a secret of this drug addiction. But then trying to help him over and over and over and over and over again, realizing that rehab is horrible and that it doesn't work, and trying different ones, and then finally realizing that there's nothing you can do to help this person. You know, he's going to have to figure it out himself. And it's a horrible scene when we see that. They do it in two parts. One is finally Nick calls him and says, you know, I think I'm done. I want to come home. And David has to say to him, you can't come home. And when he gets off the phone, he actually gets up and takes down the pictures of Nick from the wall and puts them in a drawer. And it's such a moment of that parent realizing, I can't do this anymore. You know, like, I can't keep trying to help him, because there's so much that happens between these parts, and then having to have that realization of something's going to happen, you know, like, and that's a constant worry for these parents. And so it's really well done, but then it's also, you also get so Nick wrote his own book too, and there's some parts of his point of view as well, where at one point he's like leaving his dad's house and being clean, and he's also going back to his own memories of like when he graduated high school and he had been accepted to like 8 different colleges, and you know, and where is my life gone, how have I gotten here, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So it's very, very emotional. It's a very amazing story, and it doesn't make it pretty, and it really focuses, which I love, it focuses on the detriment that this addiction disease does to people, and how bad rehab is, how little help you can really have with a person. And it gives amazing statistics at the end that drug overdose is actually the leading cause of death for Americans under 50 years old. That's amazing.
Wow.
So there's, you know, and it talks about how underfunded it all is and all that. And so there's a bigger story to it, but I think, like, I was thinking of people that I know who have kids who are going through this, and I don't think they could watch this. I think it's so well done that I don't think they could watch it, because it's too
heart-wrenching.
Yeah,
okay.
Very much so. So like I said, Timothy's nominated for a Golden Globe tomorrow night. I think I feel like he was only brought on this earth to make me cry. Like, so far.
You're probably not the only one.
Yeah, I mean, last year's Call Me by My Name still just is gut-wrenching to me, and I still can't watch it without just losing it. And he was great in Lady Bird, and he's he's just amazing in everything I've seen him in, and I'm so happy for him that he continues to get recognized for these things. And Steve Carell, who I love in every kind of serious role that he does.
Yeah.
Again, he can break your heart just as easily as well. You buy him as that dad. Of course you do. I think everyone feels like he's the dad, so now he's this dad that's heartbroken and so scared of losing his child. And then and then there's that moment where he's watching his other younger kids and thinking there's no dialogue, but he's watching them like in their little school pageant thing. And at least what I'm reading on his face is, am I going to have to go through this again with these kids?
Yep. Can
I go through this again with these kids? Have I been the one who passed this down to him? And was that my fault? And am I now going to screw this up with these two? Like that whole, I can't imagine how much that plays into everyone's minds at that time. And you see his marriage, having problems because it takes up so much of your life. He's focused so much on his son that he can't focus on his wife and his other kids, and so you see that kind of start to fall apart. And it's amazing. The good news is that now Nick, he is still alive. As of the release of this, he had been sober for 8 years. He's gotten his stuff together, and which is one of the good stories, obviously.
One of them. But there aren't enough of those.
No, there are not. And it's, I'm sure, every day a struggle for him. But, knock on wood, he's doing well. And so that's Beautiful Boy. It's on Amazon Prime. I totally, I think everyone should see it. But definitely know what mood you have to be in when you sit down to watch it.
Not an uplifting movie.
No, but good. And kind of one of those necessary things. Like, again, if I had a kid, I would be having them watch it because you see that it's not a good thing, and they do talk about the science of crystal meth and how it kills your nerve endings in your brain and that some people cannot get those back. And they talk about how the addiction happens. And after the one use, you have to go back and get more and your dosage goes up every time. And so I think there's a lot of learning to happen in there as well. Mm-hmm. So that's that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So
do you have anything funny to talk about? Come on, man.
Okay, so now the next movies I want to talk about are very quickly skim over are the ones that we watched together. I have talked about all of these on here. Well, maybe not Black Panther, but I wanted to talk about these 3 movies that John and I watched together this week so that he can have his little say in them. So the 3 movies are Life of the Party with Melissa McCarthy, Black Panther, obviously with Chadwick Boseman, and Michael B. Jordan, and Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams and everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go for it. And okay, so Life of the Party. Go.
Life of the Party. I enjoyed it. It was good. And it proves that Melissa McCarthy, as we suspected or maybe have already seen, can totally carry a movie and make you pay attention and give a great performance, not being over the top and snarky and all the things she was in Bridesmaids and several other movies that she's done. She's very quick-witted, very sharp and biting.
Right. This is the first one where it's like she's not in a costume. Like Spy, she's in the, and The Boss, she's in the costume. And even Bridesmaids, she's in that costume with the wrists and the nails and the pearls. Like, this is the first one where she's just like a modern woman. Like, she's a woman her age, being a woman her age.
Yeah.
And so she's not hiding behind any of that. I mean, in the very beginning, she kind of is the dowdy woman, but then she's just a normal, no costume, but still funny as crap. I mean, to me, she's just, there's no better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Anyway.
Okay, John, go. Wait. Okay, before you get started here.
Sorry, sometimes you take a long time to get to
I know. It's okay. Hey, I do me and you do you.
I know. Okay, so you liked it.
I did. I really liked it. It was very good and very, I don't want to keep using sweet, but it was very good, especially from a woman's or girl's perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's very empowering.
Yeah.
The message it comes across ultimately.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So it was good. It was good. And I'm a big fan of women. So.
So that's on HBO now. I think what you guys will start to realize with the routine is, I'll watch movies either new or pay-per-view. He kind of waits till they get on movie channels, and that's when I can finally tag him down and say, hey, watch this now. So that's on HBO now if you guys are interested.
Yeah, and if you force me to give it a grade, I give it 3 or 3.5.
Good.
It was good. It was not the best movie I've ever seen, but it was good. It was very enjoyable.
Good.
So.
Okay, so then, of course, Black Panther's, it's been on Netflix forever, but I finally got him to sit down and we watched it.
Yeah, I finally sat down and watched it. I had heard so much about this movie, especially from you. I thought I knew what to expect. And for a lot of it, it was as expected, even better. But there were some things that I was not expecting or was surprised by, but everything in a good way. Okay. It was just a fantastic movie. Totally loved it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, how can you not? Again, how can you not?
Well, DC has figured out how to make me not enjoy superhero movies.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
But
that's not. But this is Marvel.
This is not. So yeah. Well, this was Marvel. And this was, there's been a lot made that finally there's a black superhero. I didn't love it because of that. To me, it was just another fantastic Marvel superhero movie, and all of the actors happen to be black.
Right. And well, and black director, and I think black screenwriter, and you can tell. It's the same as when I'm talking about a female director. You can tell because there was so much detail, like even in those first moments when we were, they have the mask when the first challenge happened, and there was the mask that they were wearing, the Panther, and I said, look at the intricacy in those masks. Like you can tell that the attention to the costumes, the artifacts, the languages that they spoke, everything that you can tell who's behind that.
You
and
can.
And that makes it that much better.
Sure. You can tell attention to detail was very important.
Right.
Right. So the thing I was pleasantly surprised by was this was very much a movie about black culture and all black cast, except for the
Martin Freeman,
the token white guy, Martin Freeman, who did an amazing American accent.
Yeah.
If I didn't know him, like I told you, if I didn't know Martin Freeman, I would swear he was American. That's how good I thought it was.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very small part. But it was a fantastic movie, but it wasn't. Some of the things I heard was it was a black movie, which takes on a different kind of
I hate that
connotation or something like that. And this was so not. This was another fantastic superhero Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Well done. The CGI and the visuals were just
gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's an epic movie, and
it really was. Yeah.
Most of Marvel's, you come out and you say that because they've done such an amazing job on every single one that you come out going, how can they top that? How can they top that? But look, this year there were 3 out. There was Black Panther, and Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Infinity War is incredible, and it's sweeping, and you go to all these different places. What?
Aquaman.
That's DC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Yeah. So, but again, when you get to the story and Infinity War's all over the place, Black Panther we get to see Wakanda, we get to see everything about it. We see the lore behind it. And you have the good versus evil and the story of family and I of course love that the women are so prominent, that the women are the protectors, and I love that the mother is strong, and the girlfriend's strong, and the sister is brilliant, and so I just there's so much about it. And again, my hopes tomorrow night for Golden Globes is that it wins for drama, and we're still waiting for the Oscar nominations, and that it'll be in there for Best Picture.
Hope so.
Yeah, there's nothing missing. You know, if you have a formula for an Oscar movie, there's nothing missing in this one.
Right.
It is all there.
Yeah.
People just need to wipe out the whole superhero thing that they have a problem with. If these were just, you know, guys wearing jeans and the same story was happening, they would be like, oh my God, it's amazing. They'll win all the the Oscars.
Well, there was enough going on, interpersonal stuff going on, and enough good acting outside of being, you know, in a big chase or a big fight scene that, you know, you should be able to get past it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hope all good things for this.
And it's brilliant. I just, all the little, you know, again, I never read the comic, but just all the technology and how they use it. And it's just, I love it. I just love it so much. It's just like, you know, it's like one of those things where every time you watch it, you see something new and hold on to something new. And I just love it.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you saw it.
And I just got to throw this in there too, because, you know, maybe, I don't know why, but I just got to. The woman who plays Michonne.
Denai Guerrera. Yeah.
Yeah. She is amazing.
Yeah. So she's the general in this.
Yeah. She's the general of the army of Wakanda, and she is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And fierce.
Yes.
I mean, just a total badass.
Yeah.
It's that makes her so hot. She's just off the charts for me.
Yeah. Well, you know, been watching her for years as Michonne. So
yeah.
So yeah, I loved seeing her in this because it felt like it just, you know,
it felt like she was made for this. Like it's such a natural fit for her.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure she doesn't want to get, you know, drilled down into one kind of, she has to be this warrior all the time, and she's not. Like even last summer she wrote a play that was on Broadway, and Lupita Nyong'o was
oh, that's right,
in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to Denai Guerrera than just being this warrior badass actor, but she is a warrior badass actor.
Now that I think about it, I think I saw the two of them on Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So Walking Dead comes back in a little over a month. Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So that was Black Panther on to now, and then we saw Game Night, which is also on HBO.
Yeah, Game Night was a pleasant surprise for me because I thought it was going to be, you know, have some funny parts and be kind of whatever, but ultimately be a little dumb. So I set the bar very low. But man, it was good. It was funny. And
good twisties.
Yeah, it was a interesting premise. And then just kept snowballing from there.
Right. And a good cast.
Yeah, great cast.
Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams, Jesse Plemons, Lamorne
Morris.
Yeah,
I don't remember the
Billy
girl's name.
Magnuson, Sharon Hogan, what's his face from his brother from Friday Night
Kyle
Lights.
Chandler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of his, so.
No, but he was good in his role too.
Right. And it's, you know, so I remember the first time I saw, what are you doing? Oh my gosh.
Technical difficulties.
Jeez, yeah. Your technical difficulties. The first time I saw it, I was kind of disappointed because I was expecting, I think some kind of like big comedy. And it turns out it's a little more smart than that. It's funny, but so it was the second time I saw it, I was like, oh, all these twists and everything, this is actually pretty cool. And that's why I decided to make sure he saw it, because I figured it was more than when I had originally seen it.
Yeah, it was. I just enjoyed it immensely. I really did. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's one of those that I will watch over and over again. And you can just watch bits and pieces of it. And it's not a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the movies. I'm going to move on to TV. The first thing I want to talk about is the third and final season came back onto Netflix this week of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which stars Neil Patrick Harris and Lucy Punch and everyone. I mean, every turn there's more people. Tony Hale's in there, and it's just like every time they go to a new house, there's new people, and it's just fantastic. So this was the third and final season. So I think there's 3 series of books. I'm not even sure that there are 3 books. Of course, I never read the books. But if you watch the movie too with Jim Carrey, I really enjoyed the movie when it came out. And again, I didn't know anything about the story. I was never a reader. But this series, man, it's just been so entertaining. And the production value, the sets, the costumes.
They do look like they spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah. And Lemony Snicket is Putty, our celebrity stalker. What's his name?
Sorry, I'm out. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh,
Patrick Warburton.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
So, Patrick Warburton plays Lemony Snicket. So he is the narrator of the whole thing. And, and here's the thing. It's, the thing I love about it is as an adult, but as a kid, I would have probably really loved it, is they're big on vocabulary. So every time they say, a little, like, and of course I'm blanking. If they say a word, they'll give the definition of the word. Or if they say a saying like up a creek with no paddles, they'll explain what that means. And that sounds weird, but it works because it makes you kind of fall in love with vocabulary and words. And so they're always trying to, and the thing is, so the point of the whole thing is there are 3 children who are orphaned, the Baudelaire children, and they are supposed to go and find people that are supposed to take care of them. And there is this Count Olaf, who is Neil Patrick Harris, and he wants to get the Baudelaire children and he wants to kill them so that he can get their fortune. And so every time they're going to another home for hopefully someone who's going to take care of them, Count Olaf shows up, and usually in costume and usually trying to pretend that he's someone else. And so the children have to escape and they have to go to, and so it's really smart, and the kids are super smart. So the girl is an inventor. So every time they're stuck in this quandary and they have to get out, she ties her hair up and she can take things that are around her and invent a machine or invent a way to climb ice or invent something to get them out of it. The boy is incredibly smart. He reads everything, and so he knows research and books, and so he can help whenever there's something on that side. And then it's a little baby who's like 1 or 2, and she's smart too in her own little right. And it's like, gosh, if I had this when I was a kid, I'm telling you, I would have loved it. It's just funny and smart and tricky, and these characters are weird and different, and it's just like, I don't know, but it's also gorgeous to look at. It's all, like I said, Netflix sunk a lot of money into this, and it shows, and it makes it so much more enjoyable. I mean, the clothes, half the time I'm just looking, and they're not like clothes you would ever wear. They're truly costumes. And Neil Patrick Harris is amazing because, like I said, he has to play these different characters. And so he puts on all these disguises and different accents, and there are some musical numbers, which is always fun. And man, I just, I'm actually sad it's over. And I'm excited to go back and rewatch from the very beginning, probably, a year from now or something, and just go back and rewatch it again. But like I said, I think it's really good for adults to watch. It's very enjoyable, but if I had kids, I would definitely be having them watch it as well.
Okay, so there are 3 seasons?
3 seasons.
How many episodes per season?
I have no idea. 7 or 8?
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're 1 hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's one of those that, like, for me, I can't stop watching it once I start. You kind of, you want to know what happens next.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's a series of unfortunate events. It's on Netflix. Enjoy. Okay. Yes. Okay. The next show I want to talk about is one that John and I ended up watching somewhat by mistake and now are kind of obsessed with, called The Masked Singer.
Oh my God. I didn't know where you're going with that, but now I'm totally in.
I know you
did. It's unbelievable.
It's so weird, people. So, and this isn't going to be a shock because I think a lot of people watched, but my going into this, so first off, I don't want to watch a lot of competition shows. I watch So You Think You Can Dance, and that's it. I don't watch like America's Got Talent or Idol or Voice or any of those things. So coming into this, I had seen clips of the Korean version, And so I knew what it was. And I remember even telling you like, oh, I'm going to tape the first one and I'll kind of watch it and we'll see.
And what did I say? No way.
Yeah.
I said, no. Okay. Have fun with that.
So stupid. Yeah. So it was on this week and I actually put it on live instead of waiting for it to be taped because there was nothing else on and I was going to bed. I was like, I'm just going to watch the beginning and then I'll just turn it off and I'll just catch up tomorrow, whatever. And the first two came out, the peacock and the hippo. And I immediately saw the peacock and I knew it was Donny Osmond. And I screamed out to you because everyone, if you haven't seen all my posts, I love Donny Osmond. And that's only because of my sister. She was obsessed with Donny Osmond as a child. And so she forced me to, I've seen him in concert, I think like 4 times. So I screamed out to you like, oh my God, Donny Osmond is this first thing you gotta come see. And he came and stayed, and we stayed the entire hour, like sitting through commercials, people. Like we sat on my bed and watched this show, which I don't think we've ever done with anything else.
Talked about it during the commercials, and as soon as it came on, like, shit's back on. Right. Shut up, stop talking.
We even paused it. Like during the clues, I would pause it and we'd be like, okay, so those clues were this. Okay, so let's explain it. If you don't know what The Masked Singer is, which how can you not in this country right now? They have brought out, there are singers or people,
celebrities
of some sort. They could be athletes, they could be singers, they could be actors, who knows? They could be Paris Hilton.
They're supposed to be people you've heard of
right.
and know of.
Right. So they come out in very elaborate costumes, and on the show they're pitting two people against each other, and they sing, and they're given a little clue. We're given a little clue package as to who these people might be, and there's a panel of judges, and in this case it was Robin Thicke and Ken Jeong and Nicole Schlesinger and Jenny McCarthy. And when they're done, they kind of give their guesses as to who the people might be. And then it's chosen who sang better out of the pair. At the end of the show, out of the 3 pairs, the person who got the least amount of votes has to take their mask off. And we're told who that is. Mm-hmm. Next week, we're going to be introduced to 6 new singers. And then I guess eventually these 12 will pair down and start to go against each other. Yeah. And eventually we'll start to figure out who everyone is. So... we were talking about this last night. Of course, now we've been talking about this show again, which doesn't happen for us.
This show is so genius.
It's just a crazy thing. But we were talking about last night that I'm not sure kids would be into this because I'm not sure they would know these people. Like, what kid is going to be sitting there going, I bet that's Donny Osmond. I mean, in the package, he says, "Oh, my friend Michael Jackson." I mean, what if the kids don't even know who Michael Jackson is? Which
this is not
but
this is not for kids.
I don't think it is.
No,
I think this is truly pleasure for adults.
Yeah, totally.
Now, I'm sure kids get an enjoyment out of the costumes and all that. They just might not be able to know. So on this last episode, the person who sang the worst or got the least amount of votes, however you want to phrase it, they did unmask, and it was
Antonio Brown.
Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't know who that person was.
Wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. So, yeah, I didn't know who that was. So, again, all of my guesses were obviously wrong.
But you could tell that he was not a very good singer from his performance.
Right.
So he should have gotten the lowest score.
Right.
And he ultimately did.
Yeah. So I've been definitely online kind of investigating other people's guesses because we have our guesses.
Oh, man.
And trying to make sure that we're on the same line, and I think we pretty much are for most of them. It's going to be very interesting. It's like
this show is so genius because I went from a hard pass to I've got to see next week in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, and like, why did we have to wait a week? I was like, why aren't they doing this every night? Because it's killing me not knowing, and now. We're not going to know these people because next week we're introduced to 6 new ones. Yeah. So then I gotta rack my brain as to who these new 6 are or 5 or
many weeks before you figure out who some of these people are. Oh my
gosh, it's incredible. Yeah. It's absolutely incredible.
It's very compelling television.
It really is, and I think it might be on Hulu, but I'm certain it's on what channel?
It's on Fox.
Is it Fox?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
I have no idea.
You know what? I don't know.
But go and find it. I'm sure it's on demand wherever, and it's probably on Hulu. I know it's on Amazon Prime. They had it as a headline on there.
Okay.
So go catch up on this first one, or go to YouTube. I'm sure all the clips are on YouTube, and see if you can guess who the people are, and just bask in the glory that is this show that I am so shocked that we are fans of.
Yeah,
But
did not see this coming.
it's a good one, and good on them for figuring it all out.
They have figured something out.
Yes.
Yeah, with this, whether it's, I don't know if it's a marketing or the way it's directed or what.
It's a good mystery.
But
it's a mystery.
You just get sucked in.
The only issue I have is the panel of judges.
Yeah, they're a lost cause, but
I just feel like their guesses were so horrible that they had to be doing it on purpose.
had to.
Because they were so off. They weren't paying attention to any of the clues they were given, and it was making me angry.
Yeah, and to the point where it's kind of a disservice to Nicole Schlesinger, because her guesses make her look like a not bright person. And she has to be smarter than that.
Right. Well, I feel like some people are going for the joke instead of going for the true guess.
Okay, so if she was going for the joke, she missed that too.
Yeah. So that's it. That's The Masked Singer on whatever channel it's on. I don't even know. But it'll be on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I don't even know what night it was.
And can't wait.
I was on vacation this week, so I don't know what day it was.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of TV, except that I want to talk about the Golden Globes tomorrow night. I just want to talk about the two major categories of Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Motion Picture Comedy or Musical. Here's hoping that Black Panther takes Best Drama. It's up against Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. And here's my beef on this. A Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody, to me, should be under the comedy or musical if they were to be in anything, because in the past, if there's ever music in it, it's always under that. And for some reason, these two got to go under the drama category. So that made me a little weird. But
A Star Is Born is not a comedy.
But it's a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think this is going to be a really tough category, and I'm not sure, because I think Black Klansman could take it. I've also heard great things about If Beale Street Could Talk. So we'll see, but it's going to be an interesting category.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, not upset with any of them if they take it. It's just, personal favorite.
Sure.
And then for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, this one's really tough. It's Crazy Rich Asians, The Favorite, Green Book, Mary Poppins Returns, and Vice. And see, here's the thing. Green Book is not really a comedy, but there's music in it. So they stuck it in here.
Vice is a comedy?
It is a comedy. It is.
It's okay.
It is a comedy.
I understand what you're telling me.
Do
but
you?
they have done a horrible job of marketing it as a comedy.
Have they?
Yeah. I don't get it as a comedy.
Trailers I see are comedy.
I have not seen a single thing that made me laugh. Other than the whole concept.
I can't believe your issue with this movie. Oh my gosh, you have got some problems.
So we drifted into the curmudgeon's corner.
Yeah. Drifted, shoved into it.
I reached out and
get in there.
Snared you. Come here, you.
Get out of my corner. Okay, so because everyone knows I absolutely love Crazy Rich Asians, I really want that to win. But I think The Favorite is probably on top. But Vice is also, I think Vice has the most nominations out of anyone.
What is The Favorite again?
Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz.
And that's a comedy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yep. Mary Poppins Returns, of course, but so that's going to be a really tough one too, but my fingers are crossed for Crazy Rich Asians. So I just wanted to talk about those quickly.
Yeah. Well, at least it was nominated. It's 1 of 5, right?
Yeah.
And that's good. And if Mary Poppins wins, I'm okay. I'm not okay if any of the others win.
You haven't seen it.
Doesn't matter. You drew the curmudgeon out of the corner.
Yeah, well, get back in there. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Actors Corner with Jason Bateman.
Hopefully it's a different corner.
Yeah, we're going to move far away from that one.
And in the opposite corner,
Jason Bateman. Okay, so I just want to touch on a little bit of loving of Jason Bateman and how I've kind of loved him since I was very little because he was on Little House on the Prairie and then Silver Spoons, and then loved him in high school when he was on Valerie and the Hogans. And so,
wow.
you know, this goes back kind of my whole life.
You and Jason Bateman go way back.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So it's very exciting to kind of, but I just wanted to pull, even though those like three things aren't on any of my lists, I mean, gosh, I can still picture him on Little House. He was so freaking cute. Love him. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you go first. Movies you love or whatever.
Probably my favorite thing that Jason Bateman has done. And this is kind of random for a lot of people.
Do you only have one?
No, I've got three.
Okay.
But I have a definite number one.
Front runner.
It's Bad Words.
Yes.
Yeah. That to me was
that's on mine as well. It's a movie I love. Yeah.
That to me is the zenith of Jason Bateman's career.
Yeah. So he directed that.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, he's an adult that's in a middle school spelling bee competition in the finals or whatever.
He got hosed when he was a kid and he found a loophole to get back in.
Well, he never went, he stopped school in middle school. And so that's how he qualified because he never went to school after that. And, but there's this whole backstory to that.
Yeah.
And there's this little boy that's in it with him that is the most adorable little thing. But it is bad language.
The dialogue between Jason Bateman and this little kid towards the end of the movie is it's the best.
It's the best. And Jason Bateman is such an awful character in the beginning. You really don't get it. And it's hysterical. And he's perfect in it. He is so perfect. Yeah, it's hysterical. It's
got one of my all-time favorite movie lines in it, and I've never used it as a quote. I've never used it to anybody. But
yeah, probably shouldn't.
You really shouldn't. But man, one of these days I'm going to.
Okay, the other two?
Game Night.
Oh.
Fresh off the list.
Interesting.
Onto the list. And Couples Retreat.
Yeah. Well.
Got to give it to it.
Can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to it.
Right. Okay, so mine under movies I love, Bad Words, Arrested Development.
Yeah.
You can't talk about Jason Bateman without talking about Arrested Development. It's perfection. And This Is Where I Leave You, which is more of a serious movie. Beautiful, absolutely love it. Jane Fonda and Tina Fey and Adam Driver, who gosh, I fell in love with. And gorgeous movie, really great story. If you haven't seen it, absolute must.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Maybe getting interrupted here by our pooch.
So, movies you like?
The Switch.
Yes.
And Horrible Bosses.
The first or second or both?
First one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one's much better.
Yep.
Mine, I also have the Switch, which, again, Jennifer Aniston, but the little boy in that movie is just so adorable. And again, it's kind of quintessential Jason Bateman in that one where, he's so good in it. Like, and it's such a, I always cry at the end. It's so good.
Yeah.
So my second one of movies I like is The Change Up. Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds together, and they switch bodies, and it's what I love about it is they both nailed the other one.
Yeah.
So Ryan Reynolds starts acting like Jason Bateman, and Jason Bateman has to come out of his shell, which he's kind of always the same, and he's now Ryan Reynolds, which is so over the top that for him, it's just, and again, I cry every time. It's hysterically funny. It's really dirty. And I love the two of them and can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I can tell where this is going.
So you might be surprised.
Movies you hate.
Okay, so he had a small part, but I'll never fail to mention this movie if I can. The Breakup.
You need help.
Yep. That's fine. I shoulder that.
It's a good one.
Nope. It's a good one to hate.
That's the only one you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't really hate any of his movies.
Yeah, I know.
So I chose The Gift because I actually didn't really like it. I wanted a lot more out of it, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted. As well as everyone's gonna go against me, but Ozark. I got through 6 episodes of Ozark in the first season and finally realized I am not enjoying myself. I am forcing myself to watch this, and I turned it off. And I even tried like a year later to get back to it when the second season was coming out, and I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. So I'm putting those 2. I don't hate them. I just didn't really enjoy them.
I think we may have to change the title of some of these. Because hate is a very strong word.
Right, but sometimes I do hate things. So
yeah,
anyway.
But most often you just dislike it.
And Secretly Love.
The change up.
Okay, so I tried to watch that the other day, and you were like, "Oh, I don't like this movie."
I know, but
because you wanted to keep it a secret.
You're onto me.
What the heck?
No, I don't. Here and it's a philosophical thing. Not really philosophical. It's personality driven.
You weren't in the mood?
Jason Bateman is not my favorite actor, nor is Ryan Reynolds.
How's it possible?
I know. Look, let's not drag it down into that. The curmudgeon's corner is back there. We can really go there if you want. I'm not a huge fan of,
secretly love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, again, love is a very strong word. I secretly like it.
Okay. Movie I secretly love, and it's not a secret.
Yeah.
Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
And if people haven't seen it and just want to hate on it, you have to see it. Natalie Portman, Dustin Hoffman, Jason Bateman. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And it's a feel-good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike anything I've ever seen. And again, it's quintessential Jason Bateman. But it's just lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Embarrassed you haven't seen?
Arrested Development.
Yeah, you should be.
I am.
I didn't have any that I haven't seen.
Of course you haven't.
Add to watch list?
Ozark.
Yeah, go for it. That's on you.
Well, I think I might. I might like it more than you.
I do think you might like it.
Yeah, because
my parents loved it. My sister loves it. I don't know what it was.
It's probably the subject matter. Doesn't help you. I don't think you're into that sort of thing, right?
It depends. If it's well done, I am. But it's just and even with Laura Linney, who I love, I
almost said Kathy Kinney. Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
Huh.
And again, I didn't have anything to add to my watch list either. So, but honorable mentions, of course, The Sweetest Thing. He's the brother in that, hysterical. The Breakup, I love. The Ex with him and Zach Braff and Amanda Peet. Oh, cracks me up.
Yeah.
Cracks me up. Juno, of course.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Hancock, he's good in. Couples Retreat, Horrible Bosses, Identity Thief. Him and Melissa McCarthy. Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Game Night, which you already said. So those were all my honorable mentions.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right.
Good on Jason Bateman.
Yep. Good for him.
Yeah. So I think that's everything then this week. Not a lot kind of really interesting. Sorry, everybody. Oh my gosh. We spent the most time, I think, talking about a reality competition show. But we wish luck to everyone tomorrow at the Golden Globes and hope everyone had fun. It's going to be interesting with Andy Samberg and Sandra Oh hosting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
So I think that's going to... I love him. I love both of them, but I love him when he's doing... Like, whenever he's presented at these shows, he's always so funny. So,
yeah, he's got the dry humor thing down.
Right.
So
and she will too. I mean, it's going to be interesting how they play off of that. But anyway, so Happy New Year to everyone. Please check out... Oh, we've added some new shirts to our Etsy store.
Yep.
For Mrs. Maisel and Good Place and some Crazy Rich Asians stuff. So check out our Etsy store, 3 Pup Migos, or go to our website, watchingmystories.com, and there is a link there to our Etsy store. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's it.
Yeah.
So have a great week.
Thank you so much, everybody.
We're going back to work this week. Back to normal.
I'm not looking forward to Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. But have a great week, and we will see you soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Okay.
Bye. That was a weird bye.